Learn more about Landry and SUDC at www.landryslight.org.
It's a mess in this attic, lot going on, but there ain't no need to panic. Come on up and join, we getting wild, getting manic. Spitting truth for all you fanatics. Every week got something new to say. Ain't no filter, this shit coming straight from the brain. It's coming straight from the brain. Yeah, it's coming straight from the brain.
What's up, everybody? Today is Friday, April 1st, 2022. This is A Talk in the Attic, and of course, I'm your host, Kirk Ross. Welcome back. We've got a great episode for you today. It's a bit of a sad one. I have my dear friend, Rick Hollern, and his wife, Jenna Hollern, and their 7-year-old son, Camden Hollern. We got, for the first time ever, a 4-person interview up here in the attic. The primary topic of today's conversation is the loss of a child. Unfortunately, Rick and Jenna had to experience the loss of their 2-year-old son, Landry, back in March of 2019 when he was just 2 years old. A very sad event. Rick and Jenna and their family are wonderful people, and they really embodied how to handle such an impossibly difficult thing to go through. They kept their composure. They have taken their strife from that terrible tragedy and turned it into a foundation called Landry's Light, which will be used to raise money, to raise awareness, and help families who are dealing with SUDC. The cause of death for Landry of SUDC stands for sudden unexplained death in children. It's very similar to SIDS. SIDS is from 0 to 12 months. SUDC is from 1 year old all the way up to 18. It affects roughly 1.4 children per 100,000, so it is rare, but it's scary because this came out of nowhere. Landry was a happy, healthy little guy, and suddenly his life ended at 2 years old. And Rick and Jenna embodied composure. They leaned on their support system, on their faith, on their other children, and really just it's inspiring. It is sad, but it's also very uplifting to see how a family can go through something so difficult and come out of the other side in a good spot. And they've started a new foundation called Landry's Light, which will help raise money for SUDC, raise awareness for SUDC, and perhaps as much as anything, keep Landry's spirit alive. Please check the show notes, especially today. You'll see some links to Landry's Light Foundation where you can donate, you can learn about Landry, you can learn about SUDC. They just started a t-shirt campaign this week, shortly after they came up to the attic to talk. So please visit the links. If you have some spare change laying around, please consider donating to the cause. Rick and Jenna are great people, good friends of ours, and I'm so grateful that they came up to the attic and had this difficult conversation. Shows a lot of courage, and hopefully will help some of you if you're dealing with loss, or if you know somebody that is dealing with loss. We all have to go through it at some point, and it's sad, but it is part of life. And Jenna, Rick, thank you so much. For those of you listening instead of watching, you're about to hear. If you're listening, you're about to hear a song that I created for Landry. If you're watching, you'll see a slideshow of Landry. And I guess if I've ever urged you to go watch this on YouTube, it would be today, because hearing from those folks is one thing, but really seeing them and seeing what Landry looked like, how he acted. He's such a happy-go-lucky little guy. I think it just really helps drive the story home that, just exactly how difficult this kind of stuff is, but just how positively you can get through it if you have the right mentality and the right attitude. So awesome. Oh, and by the way, I didn't even mention Camden, the 7-year-old that killed it. I was actually kind of thinking in my head I'd get some of the kids say the darndest things kind of vibe. No, every time he spoke, it was excellent. It was on point. And there were a lot of lessons in the things that Camden said, definitely more than what I said. And we had a great time, despite the weight of the conversation, and it was good to hang out. And I appreciate you being here. Some of you, I probably haven't seen you in a while. You don't need to adjust your TV set. You're not somehow sucked into a 70s time warp. This is just what I look like now. So I guess deal with that. All right, folks, let's get into this thing. Let's start the show. I'm here with my old friend, Rick Hollern, his wife, Jenna Hollern, and their son, Camden Hollern. What's up, guys?
Hey, good to be here.
Welcome to the show. Jenna?
Thank you.
We're gonna have to break the ice. This is probably kind of a new experience for everyone else here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think so far?
I like it.
It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, I think you'll have fun with it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a lot, but Rick and Jenna, you guys have quite a unique experience in that you lost a very young son. Was it 2 years ago?
No, 3.
3.
3 years.
3
Yeah.
years ago now.
Last
Yeah.
year was 2.
Last year, and you lost your little brother, Landry. Yeah, so we'll talk
Now I have
about
another one.
you now have
That's
another
like
one.
him.
Yeah, what's the new little brother's name?
Foster.
Foster. So don't now you have a girl as well?
We do. Yep.
Yeah.
Lennon is
15
Only
15 months.
little.
Big fam. So you're still busy. You're still busy, but we'll
Very busy.
we'll talk a little bit about that. You guys are involved in the foundation now for what is it? Sudden. What is the?
It's for SUDC, which is sudden unexplained death in children.
Okay, and that's kind of just an overarching kind of unexplained.
Yeah, so it's the classification that kind of is a broad general when a child passes that happens to be over the age of 12 months and there's no formal cause of death that can be determined.
So I mean, we'll talk about. We'll get into that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a. I was moved. I knew you, of course.
Yep.
Rick and I are longtime coworkers, and I was just so impressed with what a difficult situation you guys were dealing with and how you managed to keep your composure. So I'd love to hear about how you're able to do that. If you even know, maybe it's some supernatural thing that occurs when you have to, but that was a very inspiring thing to see. I remember seeing you at the service, and you were just the same kid that I remember seeing in all the pictures. So that's just cool. It's interesting to see that life goes on, of course, even after tragedy, right? So you guys exemplify that. Camden, this is my first time I've had a kid up here. Not that you're like a little kid, but you're still kind of young for this place. So I did get some coloring books and some crayons. You want me to get those? You want to do that when we're doing this? Or you just want to hang out and talk for a while first?
Hang on.
Okay, we'll hang out and talk first. Okay. Well, why don't we start with you then? Tell me a little bit about you. If someone came up to you and said, "Camden, tell me you have 1 minute to describe who you are," what would you say?
That about my brother, that he was my first brother that I ever had.
Yeah.
And another one thing is that I like lots of activities in school.
What's your favorite one?
We don't have it in school yet, but it would be geography.
Oh man, you're getting ahead of your classmates. What do you like about geography?
all the flags and maps.
That's your favorite part? That's cool. Do you know the song by the Animaniacs or whoever it is that does like every country in the world? Have you heard that? Okay, link coming your way. I'm not going to try to sing it. It's really hard. My wife does it really well.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
So geography's cool. What are you learning about in school right now?
I'm mostly learning about I'm mostly learning about stuff in writing and math.
Oh, do you enjoy both of those?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, your dad's good at math. You ever go to him for help for math?
No.
I don't think he has to
I
yet.
sometimes
We have to go to him for
when they
help.
want me.
Well, awesome. We'll come back to you. But you can always dive in anytime. If you have a comment, you can just chime in. We're always recording all the time. Rick, you get your elevator pitch now. Describe yourself so people listening kind of know the context a little bit.
So my background is I grew up in Grand Rapids, still live in Grand Rapids, worked my whole career as a design engineer, and pretty much outside of that, spend all my time with kids and family, chasing kids around, going to Camden soccer, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, busy
kind of
dad
a boring
life.
guy.
Dad life.
Yeah.
I mean, most people listening will be able to relate to you better than a lot of the other people are. So it's not boring. It's just real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You used to be a wrestler. We used to bond over that.
Yeah, absolutely. In high school, long since those days.
But you were helping coach for a little bit or something too. For
I
a minute,
did,
right?
yeah. I did help coach for, I think, 2 years in coaching middle school kids in wrestling. So that was a good experience. That was before I had kids and actually had time to do
Yeah,
stuff outside of work.
I
but-
imagine the thought of hanging out with other kids that aren't yours now probably
Yeah.
sounds like the worst thing, last thing you want to do.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time left after, besides going to work and taking Camden to his sports and taking care of the kids. And
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah. I mean, and from working with you at multiple places, you're an excellent engineer. I always appreciate how hard you worked. We have a lot of stories, especially dating back to the Gentex days,
Yeah, absolutely.
working with
Some
Japan
good
and all
stories.
that. Yeah. Jenna,
Yeah.
what about you?
So also, I was born in South Korea,
Okay.
adopted into a Polish, Catholic, Dutch, Christian family.
Here in Grand Rapids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I grew up here my whole life, went away to college and came back, work in the exciting field of finance. So between an engineer and finance, our kids are very excited at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe that's why you like math.
Yeah.
It's in the
his
blood.
genes.
It's in
Yeah.
your genes. That's
I
right.
don't think it's a choice.
So are you pretty connected to your like Korean heritage still? Or I mean, how have you tried to, or how does that look?
Yeah, I've been there. I went back to Seoul for a work trip and was able to kind of see
you?
the what
And
before you were born.
Oh yeah. No more trips like
like
that.
what year was it?
Oh, probably 12 years ago, buddy. Long time ago.
You gonna go sometime? You should go sometime.
That
She
is
said
our
maybe
plan.
we could go when we all get older.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When you guys can handle that.
When
plane
you're
ride.
35 and you can pay your own trip.
That
Right.
too.
So did you get to like meet some family and stuff, or was it just more of
No,
the cultural
so
part?
it was more just getting able to see the country and the people and learn a little bit more about the culture hands on. But it was great. I loved it. I definitely want to go back and with Rick and the kids at some point, but I don't really know much of my background. So
Yeah, I'd imagine it was hard. When did you come here? When you were like a baby?
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
5 months old.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's. I mean, you have an interesting perspective though, being that you're in a predominantly white area.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I mean, was that nice? Were people kind? Or did you have to deal with bullshit?
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of bullshit. But
Yeah.
when you're like a child growing up in it, you don't realize. It just makes you feel more uncomfortable, I think, than anything.
Yeah.
Because it's people constantly just bringing out the fact that you look different.
Right. Yeah.
So
especially
it's
when
like
they're little,
when
they don't
yeah.
even necessarily. It's not even from the wrong place. It's just
right.
like yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm always a white guy in a white area, and it kind of gets annoying. So, you probably grew a lot from that, I imagine. Probably know how to deal with shit better than a lot of other folks do.
Probably, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Jury's still out.
yeah. What do you think? Is she pretty nice? Do you like these guys as parents? What's your favorite thing about each of them?
They're really, 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 really nice.
Oh, that's good. All the time? Do you ever get in trouble?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But we all do, don't we?
Not everybody.
Oh,
Do you think you get in trouble more or less often than your little brother and sister?
I think more.
More?
No, you're definitely
Not than
less often.
Foster, but definitely more than Len.
So Camden is the very, very, very responsible child, and a lot of times actually is parenting us.
Yeah, well, he's already taken over the interview. I like that.
I mean, there have been times where we're bringing him up to bed, and he's telling us that we forgot to make him go brush his teeth, and that we needed to go do that. So yeah, he definitely keeps us on our toes.
I got to tell you, I follow you on Instagram, which I think you're the only. How old are you? 7? 7? You're definitely the only 7-year-old that I follow on Instagram. But you have a pretty good Instagram. You like to wear cool clothes. Would you agree? Do you pick those out yourself? You're just a good model. You're saying
100% a good model.
good model. Who's making the choices? Rick's always had good style. Mom.
Yeah, it's definitely not me.
Yeah. Well, keep it up.
Dad does my hair.
Well, he's great job.
Yeah,
I can tell he's got a flair for that. So, what do you miss do you miss things about your little brother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just like what do you do you think about him quite a bit?
Because I have a couple of things I remember. Because there's this one Nerf gun he would always play with when we played with Nerf guns, and we went downstairs. And whenever, sometimes if he would get sad, I would always go over to him, and I told him we could do something fun, and to do something so he won't be sad.
Oh yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. Did you play quite a bit? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're pretty young then too. So now you play games with Foster too. You teach him a lot of stuff too.
Well, one day I got him to play soccer with me inside, because there's this ball we have, and then he was just kicking the ball, and I was pretending I couldn't get it.
Oh yeah, kind of letting them win a little bit. Yeah, you better be careful. Someday he might take you over. There might be a time where he lets you win. You think that'll ever happen? No. You think so? You think he'll ever have to let you win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's good. You're just a nice kid. That's what I'm gathering here. You don't want to speak poorly about him, but in your heart, you kind of know you're always going to beat him. Okay. That's what I thought. So, I mean, okay, it's been 3 years since that day.
Mm-hmm.
Describe the circumstances a little bit. I remember hearing about it at work, but I know it was just an absolutely out of nowhere thing. So, do you want to kind of set the stage exactly what happened? I mean, as much as you know,
probably.
I mean, unfortunately, we don't know a lot, but
Right.
It kind of just was a normal day. We got him up, got him off to my mother-in-law's. She watches our kids while we're at work, and
I went to school for half of the day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You went to school for half the day. You were in preschool.
And then I remember we went to Chuck E. Cheese after.
Yeah. You guys did go to Chuck E. Cheese. And my mother-in-law put him down for his normal afternoon
He
nap.
had blueberries also.
Oh, he had blueberries. Those were his favorite, yeah.
Blueberries were his favorite food.
And she went to go get him up, and he wasn't breathing. And so, there's a whirlwind of things that happened from then.
Unexpectedly.
Yes, unexpectedly. He got rushed to the hospital, but ultimately they weren't able to save him.
Just brutal. It's devastating, right? I mean, it's just I've lost people that are more age appropriate, and it's difficult, right? So I just can't imagine how that felt. So I mean, what do you panic, or what's the feeling that comes over you right away?
So I mean, we got a phone call. I remember getting a phone call while I was at work, and was told that he wasn't breathing and that an ambulance was there. So I rushed over to their house and got there, and you just think, okay, he's not breathing, but they'll get him back going, and the ambulance is there, they're going to take care of it. Started to get, the panic started to elevate a little more when I got there and peeked in, and it looked like they were frantically working on him. And I wasn't actually able to stay in the room. They wanted me away just because they needed their space and to rush him out when they could.
Right.
So they ended up rushing him down to the emergency center. And even when we got there, it just still seemed like, okay, this isn't going to happen to us. So, you know, he's with doctors. We have great doctors here. They're going to find a way to revive him and get him, you know, back to us. And, you know, we got the doctor came in and told us there was nothing left to do. And I think just the shock of the situation just hits really hard and it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately for us, we were able to go in and, you know, as they were taking him off of the machines that were, you know, trying to revive him, we were able to be there with him and get to hold him one last time. But, you know, it just doesn't feel real until, you know, I felt like it was even just took several hours or days for it to really feel real. I mean, I remember waking up the next day and thinking, well, you know, this was just a bad dream, but it really wasn't. And I think that's when it really starts to hit. And it, you know, at first it became extremely overwhelming. All you wanted to do is, for me, all I wanted to do is just kind of hide away and in my sorrow. But, you know, you start to lean on others and, yeah, that definitely helped a lot. Having a close family here and a good friend group that was supporting us, you know, in any way we could, but also giving us our space. So, and we really leaned on others and people really stepped up for us.
Yeah. I mean, so how long until that feeling of kind of just like, I mean, how long until we really kind of felt like the new normal? Does it ever?
I don't think it ever really does. I mean, to me, you know, the first month or so, you know, I struggled going about my day to day without, you know, just breaking down at multiple moments a day. And Jenna can tell you I'm not an emotional person at all. So that was pretty difficult for me to deal with. But, you know, I would say as the years have gone on, it's become more that, you know, we can look back and smile on the memories. And there are still times every day where we get sad about things. And, you know, I'd be lying if I would say I'd never got angry about it and say, why would this happen to us? And, you know, I think you wouldn't wish harm upon others, but you would wish it was someone else that was dealing with it. But, you know, I think for the first year, I had a lot of trouble even just watching videos of him. That was the hardest, just seeing him up and remembering like what a vibrant kid he was and how smiley he was all the time. And just like, there was no indication that there was anything wrong.
Right.
So it just took a while for me to be able to even look back at videos and be happy about them. And I think I've finally grown to the point. I think it took somewhere between years 1 and 2 to be able to even watch videos of him. And I think at this point now I can watch things and, you know, be sad, but also remember them happily and remember the memories, which is good.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It seems like the having the videos long term is going to be great for memories and stuff, but it's too painful at first. Yeah. I mean, so then you guys are in a church. So like you had a very huge turnout. Of course, you're well liked, and of course it's a sad thing. Everyone wants to come support. But speak about how that kind of helped you through the whole thing too? Or did you lose? I mean, did you have issues with your faith as a result of this? If that's kind of a personal thing, of course. But
no, I think that's a very natural thing to happen.
Yeah, like Rick said, I think it's hard to sometimes question why this is happening. I think Rick and I definitely grieved in different ways. And, you know, we show our emotions differently. But for me, at least, I felt supported in our faith. And I felt that a stronger connection back to our church going through this. They were great, honestly. And a huge reason, I think, why we were able to kind of get through the situation the way we have been able to. So for me, I really leaned on that. I know that can't speak for Rick even, but I know it's not like that for everyone.
Right. And everyone's got their own individual experience with it.
I think part of what really helped us too is the fact that, you know, Camden was still there with us, and you know, he had a funny way of knowing like when we needed him. And you know, I think there was a lot of times where he was grieving and we would try and be there for him. But there were several times where he knew when to be there for us. And for a kid at that age, and I think you were 3 at the time, or 4.
I think
He
it
had
was
just
3 or
turned 4.
4.
And for a kid at that age to understand the emotions, and he would come up to us and tell us it was okay to cry and try and comfort us. So, it just shows what a special kid he is.
Attaboy. Well, so how did you feel? Do you remember those days at all? Or do you remember like kind of how it all went?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when your parents were like all sad a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that make you sad?
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel good to know that some of the stuff you said helped them out though? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You're probably the only person in the world
Mhm.
that could have helped them at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. It's a sad thing though. So do you think back about your brother a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you feel kind of like now you kind of almost have to like, kind of do double life twice now, kind of double up, right? You got to do double the stuff, have double the fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big responsibility. You're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
I think what's really been great is being able to watch Camden continue to be a child and do fun things, but also how he still incorporates Landry into those moments.
Yeah. How do you? I notice you guys like have a picture of him a lot of times in your family pictures and all that. That's really cool.
Yep.
So what other kind of things you do to keep him in the mix?
Yeah. So, I think every year we still celebrate his birthday. We get a cake for him. We go out to the cemetery as much as we can to go out and visit him. But, some of the other things are just making sure that we remember him in everything we do and try and, live knowing that tomorrow's not promised. And we kind of have learned that the hard way. So we try and don't take things for granted. I know like Camden plays soccer and, he wanted to make his number Landry's birthday. So that's another way that he's able to honor him. And Camden constantly bring up things like if we go on a family trip, we'll bring a memento or something of his so that
he's
Or also like my bear.
Yeah.
My bear.
Yep. And Camden has a stuffed animal bear that says, forever my brother you'll be, and it has Landry's name on it. And he'll take that with him, and that's a comfort thing for him.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I think every year when we do family pictures, we try and make sure that there's a picture, including him, just, so it helps us heal and helps us feel like he's still part of our family.
Yeah.
Even though, the pictures, I don't think we have to do that, but it just brings me comfort.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
I think there's like a struggle when you lose someone, especially someone really close to you or even a child, is when you continue to live your life is that guilt of feeling like you're
like, oh, I'm
moving
doing this
on
and he
or
can't.
or kind of forgetting them or something like that. And so, we try to be as cognizant as we can and kind of normalize, our lives around knowing that he's gone, but also still including him however we can.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. And I mean, like you kind of mentioned already, Rick, but it's like you don't take things as granted now. I'm sure you still take things for granted. It's impossible not to, but like you probably you're quicker to remember that.
Yeah.
But were there any major perspective shifts? I would imagine there would be. Like, I would think like work and things like that would become not less important, but like you can shrug stuff off more easily. I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's partially why we felt compelled to create the foundation that we did, and just felt like, there had to be a bigger purpose out there. And that's kind of what drove us to create the foundation.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What are the kind of the overall details? Obviously there's going to be a link down in the show notes, everyone watching, for donate or at least learn about it. If nothing else, become more aware of what's going on. And if you can donate, please do. If you're moved by this, or if you know somebody that's, this goes to a good cause, explain a little bit about it.
Yeah. So we just recently created a foundation called Landry's Light. And so the purpose of it really is, for us, I think we created it because we wanted our son's memory to live on somehow. And so for us, it was almost therapeutic to kind of go through these steps to create something.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted something good to come from a really tragic situation. So our organization really, it's small, just starting out, but really we're aiming to create more awareness around what SUDC is. A lot of people know what SIDS is.
Right.
So
and that's just before 12 months, and then SUDC is the same thing, but after, is that what
basically,
it is?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know what SUDC is. And so just getting people that awareness and that level of understanding, and that these types of things although it is rare, it still actually occurs more than people probably want to think.
I think I saw on the website what is like 1.4 per thousand or something, or
So it ends up and it's really hard to know because there's so many different factors that can go into it, and ultimately it's whether a medical examiner can put on a death certificate that it's unknown cause.
So it has to be like a thorough enough investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of people, that's probably happening to a lot of people where they're not doing that.
Yep, there can be. Yeah. So it's hard to really know how widespread SUDC is. Right now, it's estimated that it's roughly 400 children affected each year, but it could be. They think the National SUDC organization thinks that's pretty underreported.
So like up to like 1 million or something like that.
It could be thousands.
Yeah. You said 400.
400.
400.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's rare, but yeah, it's still affecting people every day.
Yep.
Or at least a person a day.
Yep.
And that's not to preclude all the people that have explanations. It doesn't necessarily make it any easier, but
right.
But so do you have any stats on what are the numbers? How often are kids that age passing away?
I think it's close to what you said. I think it's like roughly 1 in 100,000 kids that it affects. So it's scary because we're talking kids from anywhere from just over 12 months to 18.
Yeah.
And the biggest group impacted tends to be toddlers. So I think between the 15 months to kind of 4 range.
Yeah.
But we've been part of the National SUDC organization, and we've seen families that have lost 12-year-olds and 17-year-olds and 16-year-olds, and so it really, unfortunately, knows no bounds.
Just it's brutal. Yeah. I said earlier, it probably wouldn't make it any easier if you knew, but it probably actually would. If you knew the cause. I don't know. The mystery of it makes it almost makes it more like mysterious, and like maybe he was really meant for a better cause, and there then as opposed to just being able to define what happened. But
and in ways I think it helps us know that there wasn't something that we missed or could have done differently that would have changed the course of events. So
right.
In ways that's comforting, in ways, with our other children, it would have been nice to know if there's something that we could look out for.
Yeah, if it was something genetic or something like that.
So we have done all the genetic testing possible with the kids and with us, and then we take them to see cardiologists every year just to make sure that we're preventing anything that we could.
Yeah.
So
I think it's over 90% of kids affected by SUDC all pass in their sleep, mostly with little to no symptoms of anything. Right. So there's really no warning signs to be able to look out for, which is what makes it, I think, so scary. When, as a parent, it's not knowing that we could do anything, or I think for a while thought, did we miss something? He had a runny nose that morning. Was that something we missed?
Right. Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
When in reality, kids have runny noses all the time and all the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in March.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Winter. Yeah. I mean, what exactly what is your plan with the foundation? So it's called Landry's Light.
It's called Landry's Light, and we want to raise money to be able to, one, help further research. There's the National SUDC organization has a lot of resources going to try to, research exactly what's happening to these children. And also, we do want to be able to help families here in our local community. So I think we're
in the aftermath of it, or up front?
Not necessarily. I mean, one of our first thoughts is that there are safety devices out there that children can wear while they're sleeping that can help monitor heart rate, oxygen levels, things like that. We didn't have one. We didn't use one with Landry. A lot of them are geared towards infants,
right?
But I know that there are developments towards making devices for toddlers. So we actually were in a beta program for one device for toddlers. So we use that on our younger son.
Yeah.
So being able to provide devices for families in the local community, cool. Being able to, one of the other things that we would like to do more recently with some of the funds we've already raised is be able to provide a scholarship for families that go to this National SUDC retreat. So families that have lost a child, there's a national retreat every year. And so being able to provide funds to be able to help families go.
Yeah, and that really speaks to like the support, the need for support. Did you guys had a natural support system in your church and your local family and all of that? But did you do any work with other people who have gone through something similar? Because your family can't really relate other than that they know you. Did you go through that at all with any of these other folks who have suffered the same loss? Or is that something that's something that they're obviously offering at the retreat and things like that?
Yeah. So, we joined their support groups, and most of it is based on social media. They have a separate Facebook group where people can kind of post when they need support on something, or if, something pops up in their life that is, they need someone to talk to about it. That group is there for them. For Jenna and I, we've been less involved with that. We did talk to a grief counselor for a little while, but I just think with the overwhelming support that we got from friends and family and, our kids, I think we were able to not move on,
just get through it
and, be able to, I guess, survive through it a little faster than others.
Yeah, not everyone has those support systems.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the foundation can help do. Yeah.
Yep.
So how are you gonna make some money? This podcast being one part of
Yeah, of course.
People, come on, go donate. To Landry's Light.
Just click the link.
Yeah.
So one thing
is there a minimum?
No.
No.
You can get on there and don't do $1. It's processing fees, blah blah blah. $5. That's all we're saying, right? Look at that camera and say $5 for Landry's Light.
$5 for Landry's Light.
Perfect. How are you gonna say no to that? I can see how you can say no to this, but that I don't know.
Yeah, so another thing we are working on right now is we are going to launch a t-shirt campaign. So that'll be updated on our social media sites hopefully soon. And then that'll also be updated on the website. So we'll have a few different designs that people could order, and the proceeds from that will go towards helping whatever, Landry's Light is
Fund our next
funding.
project.
Yeah. So are you guys managing the whole thing too yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of another job now.
Yeah, that becomes kind of a struggle at times, trying to make sure that we put aside enough time for it. So there's, there have been times where we stall out a little bit, but, we try and stay motivated knowing that, what cause we're doing this for, and that definitely motivates us.
We so it is Rick and I mostly. We do have a third board member currently, who is Landry's godfather.
Okay.
But we're also currently in the middle of expanding our board to 5 members. So
cool.
We're hoping to be able to add, some additional individuals that can help us in the process, bring some great ideas and great networks, and help us take this thing to the next level.
Well, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think do you feel like a sense of relief that energy is now being put towards something so organized? I would think it would. Yeah.
Yeah, especially, we never realized up front because we've never done something like this, but there's a good amount of work that goes into setting one of these up. And so, we had some help from a lawyer in town that helped us, one of Jenna's friends.
Yeah.
And helped us with a lot of the paperwork because, there's a lot that goes into it that we didn't realize. So it's just a relief to have it launched and moving in the right direction and doing exciting things with it.
There's probably a lot of legalese built into it, of course, just because there always is, but also there's so much fraud out there.
Yeah.
That people are constantly doing fraudulent stuff with Ford Foundation. So it's almost like they got to make it complicated.
Yep, they have to.
Yeah.
It just made it a little harder on us.
Make it harder on the people that are doing it for the right reasons. Yeah. Yeah. You can do like events and things like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. That's definitely, on our list. I think we need to we're hoping to just kind of start off small and then hopefully get there. But yeah, we definitely have goals. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So folks, go do it. Right?
Yeah.
Give it to him again. Give it right at the camera.
$5 for Landry's Light.
Make it 10.
Let's raise up 20. Let's say 20. Do it.
You can do it.
You should do it.
$20 for Landry's
All
Light.
right, that's the take. That's the one we're going to use. I might edit that into 1,000.
What?
Run it all the way up the chain. Well, I mean, I think it's cool that you guys came here, that you guys are willing to talk about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the whole thing.
I mean, it's a surreal situation, right? Like no one ever thinks it's going to happen to them. And what was that? Yeah. No one ever thinks that, you hear the stories and you always sympathize for families that go through something like that. But you never think it's going to be you. And I think a lot of times you hear stories of families that aren't able to stay together because it tears people apart.
It's it's too much pain, trauma there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Rick and I have been really fortunate to be able to have the support and then also seek support when we need to. We did see a grief counselor for the first 6 months, going weekly to just be able to talk through things. I mean, we grieve differently.
You're right.
And so being able to, understand how you grieve, but then also be able to respond and help and support someone else when they're grieving in a way that you're not used to and you don't understand, I think is huge. So
that could probably be a big source of conflict for folks that like they view that the other person doesn't care or something because their grief looks different, and then it becomes like animosity, and of course then it's over. But,
and I think we've heard some stories from people of that happening too. So we're fortunate that we were able to discuss things, and I think communication was always good, and being able to tell each other what's on our mind and support each other how we needed it.
What kind of lessons does the grief is it really just kind of custom where they're just the grief counselor just kind of listens and says stuff, or are there like pretty like consistent lessons that they teach? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, it felt really organic. I think we had a great counselor who was able to kind of just listen and then fill in with ideas on how we can help each other, how we can support each other, how we can show our emotions and grieve, whether it's individually or together or even with our families and friends. One of the things that we learned is you almost end up, especially right in the immediate aftermath, you almost end up supporting everyone else. Because they're emotional wrecks as well and they hurt for you. And so I think we found that in the first couple of weeks, it was really us kind of trying to tell our parents and our friends and our families that it's okay and that we're okay, and helping make sure that they were feeling okay as well. So it's kind of weird.
It's like we don't, I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I think other cultures talk about death more, but we certainly don't here. I mean, you could be at a funeral for an 80-year-old person and people don't want to talk about death, and it's like, that's why we're here. But it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
It is. And I think that's why people don't like to talk about it, because it's uncomfortable. And I think it's uncomfortable for people who don't know the situation and who don't know what to say or how to comfort someone.
What is the best thing that someone said to you? Not to discount everything that everyone means well, but like there has to be some comments that just do not help. And there have to be some comments that help more. Like what would your advice be like on that? Because like we're all going to deal with friends and family who lose people, and like it is hard to know what to say. So
for me, what and still does to this day makes me feel great is when someone just tells me that they remember a story about Landry, or that they're thinking about him, or letting me know that they think about them daily. I have a friend who still has the prayer card from his funeral service, and she keeps it up right in her house, and she tells me that every day she sees it and it makes her smile just seeing him. So that's cool. Things like that, I think for me, is just knowing that I'm not the only one that remembers him, that other people are remembering him as well. And
that's the beauty of the foundation too, is that it spreads that.
Yeah, it's a way to keep his memory alive, keep his photos out there. And, I think unfortunately, we have a lot of anniversary dates that go along with it that, could end up being sad, but we always get several calls, texts, of people, giving us a memory of Landry or just telling us they're thinking about us. And that really goes a long ways to us. I think our biggest fear when everything happened was that people would forget about him. And so that's partially, the foundation will keep his memory alive, but we haven't really.
People are already remembering
him. People remember him. He was a very special kid. I mean, anyone who met him would remember he was, always smiling. He had crazy hair. He was always running around doing funny stuff. So, I think one of the things that he did shortly before he passed away is we went out to eat, and he started taking his French fries and dipping them in water and laughing hysterically every time. And So, there are times where we'll be having French fries and we'll dip them in water,
water.
even though it doesn't taste
It's
very
like, man, I
good, but
wish
it's a
you-
fun
like, I wish you
memory.
would've done something a little
Yeah,
more tasty than this,
if
but-
you could have done ketchup, that would have been a little better, but, just a fun way to remember them. And I think there's things that every day that, we're just going about our normal day and it'll spark a memory. And, now that makes me smile. I think at first it was very difficult, and there are trigger points for us, but now I think those have turned into happy memories, which is good.
That's good. And you got your hands full on the other three too. So it's like,
yeah.
And that probably helps though. I mean, if that would have happened on your first child, it might have been more devastating to your relationship and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of the things is, I was 20 weeks pregnant when
that's right.
Landry passed away. So, I think, that was just the right timing for things. And not to sound weird about that, but
no,
I just
Silver
think
lining.
that, absolutely. I think being able to have something positive to look forward to after going through something so terrible really also helped in that grieving process.
Yeah. Well, this next question, I don't know. Whatever. You can decide to answer it or not. But do you ever let yourself kind of think about what Landry would be doing when he's an adult?
100%.
Yeah.
I think
that is one of the most, sometimes that's the most difficult thing is, thinking about what he would, thinking about what he'd be doing right now, what grade he'd be in, what sports he'd be doing, what he'd look like, what he'd like playing with. So, I think we do those what ifs all the time. And I think that's actually, it's sad a lot of the times and makes us sad, but I think it also helps just kind of thinking of, what type of kid he would be and helping keep his memory alive with us.
Yeah. What do you think? Okay, so if you had to say right now, let's just say that never happened and Landry's just going about his business right now. First off, do you think his hair would be like yours or would it be longer? What do you think?
Longer.
He kind of had a mop, right?
Yeah.
Never seen a mop. Yeah. Okay, when he's older, well, first off, when you're older, what do you want to be? Do you know yet?
You know what you want to do when you grow up?
Play soccer.
Oh.
Okay.
Professional soccer
player. Okay. Do you have any other backup plans? Baseball.
I think I might also want to play baseball.
Okay. All right. Dream high, baby.
Yeah.
I like it. What do you think if Landry were going to be a big adult someday, what do you think he would be doing for a job? Other than, dipping French fries and water all the time.
I think he would be doing I bet he would be just he would probably be because he liked police officers a lot, so I think he would be like a police.
Oh, he'd be a cop. Okay.
From the folks that brought you all of the CSIs, Lieutenant Landry, there's a new sheriff in town, coming to CBS this fall.
I don't know. It's like I recently lost a couple friends that are just our age, which is still young, of course.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I don't know. There's this. It's like it makes you evaluate your own life big time too. Of course, when it's someone that's more, that was your flesh and blood. So of course it did the same for you. But it's just like we're all heading there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what can we do to. I don't know. Is there anything we can do to be ready for it? I guess.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what religion and all this other stuff is. But.
Yeah, to us, I think it's just making sure that, I think for me, there are several times a day where I just think, okay, I got to do stuff today to make Landry proud of me because I know he's still there watching us. And so I think that's part of what we're trying to do with the foundation is make sure that we can, I don't know how to say this.
No, absolutely. I think, one of the hashtags we use sometimes in our posts is L4LJ, and those are actually our
license plate as well.
But we kind of thought about that because we said we need to live for Landry.
Yeah.
So Landry Joseph.
Landry Joseph. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's what this foundation is a reminder for us. And then I think, as Rick said, it's a reminder for us every day that when we think of him is how can we make him proud? What can we do to make this spread the joy that he gave to us? So you'll see sometimes in our social media that we just ask for people to, especially on his birthday, just to do a random act of kindness for someone. And it doesn't always have to be, I think a lot of people think
monetary
pay it
or something.
forward or
Yeah.
yeah. And it doesn't have to be, it could just be something as simple as, holding the door for someone. But just what can you do that's thinking about beyond yourself that can make someone else's day better?
Because it's just a simple act, like even just going and telling someone they look nice that day, or going and talking to someone who looks like they're having a bad day can make a world of difference for someone, and maybe they spread it forward.
Yeah, or maybe they're actually dealing with something just like that, or something that's just
you never know what.
with.
You never know what everyone else is going through.
So just be kind. Is that what I'm hearing here?
Yeah.
Be kind. Do you believe in that too? Well, if you had to say right now, what is your motto? Do you know what a motto is?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a saying that kind of helps you decide how to act every day. So like maybe your mom said, be kind, do something nice for somebody else, right? What do you say when you look in the mirror? How do you get yourself kind of ready for the day?
Thinking of what I should do to make somebody's day better. If nobody, if somebody isn't doesn't feel right, or if they are mad or something or sad.
Just kind of do something nice. Well, how would you do that? Like if I was sad right now, what would you do to me?
I would say
Cool mustache.
what are you or I would say, what can I do that will make you happy?
That's very nice.
Yeah, I think he does that quite a bit at home. If one of the other kids gets hurt or starts crying about something, or Foster takes a toy away from Lennon, I think he tries to go bring Lennon a new toy, so that.
Look at that.
He's a little peacekeeper.
Well, hey, if soccer falls through, you could be like a psychiatrist or a doctor or somebody, a counselor, something that's helping people. You'd be good at that.
The feedback we get from, he's in first grade now. So from the 2 teachers he's had the last 2 years is that
Landry and Shapansky.
He's had great teachers.
Yeah.
That he's a friend to everyone. And
that's
that's what I think if I had to pick a motto for you, I think that's what it would be, is be a friend to everyone, right?
Yeah.
That's a good motto. You can't go wrong in that. And some people are going to take advantage of that, but you'll deal with that. Stuff's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, I wish I had that insight when I was 7. Yeah. So Landry's Light. Look for more events. Go follow him on Facebook.
Yep. We have Facebook, Instagram, and then we have our website, which is www.landryslight.org.
All of which will be in the show notes. Click on it. Well, maybe we'll include a couple pictures or something if you're willing.
Yeah.
Some pictures, some videos, so you guys can see this cute little guy that we're talking about. Thanks for coming on and talking about it, and also just thanks for, I don't know, you were really impressive to watch all that as it was all going on. I felt like I was a mess, and everyone around you guys were a mess, and you guys were very strong. You were the same way, and that made me feel comfortable too, just seeing that you guys were going to get through it. And
we appreciate you having us on here.
Oh yeah. What do you got? What's your last thing to say? You can say anything in the world right now. You can't even get in trouble for what you're about to say. Okay, don't even look at them. You can just look at that camera up there and you say whatever you want to say. It can be funny, serious, goofy.
That my brother, he was a really, really good brother, because he always was he always cared for other people.
That's good.
I remember when we went to grandma's, where she babysits us, whenever Millie or I get hurt, or whoever's over gets hurt or something, he always would go and help them.
Oh wow! You kind of do that too. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of already, in a way, you kind of you're L4LJ kind of already. You're kind of living like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, okay. After that, that was great. You did a great job. Let's do it this time. Landry Light, $1,000.
No.
What's the highest number you're willing to go?
21.
20.
Hey, every dollar counts.
$21.
For what?
Landry's Light.
For Landry's Light. You heard it here, folks. And once you get T-shirts and stuff, obviously we'll take some and we'll put them on. We can spread it through the podcast and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
that'd
That
be
would be
great.
great.
Yeah. Anytime I can help with any of that stuff, like if you're ever doing video production or whatever you need, I'm happy to help. That'd be cool.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we really do. This was, I think we somewhat were dreading this just because we knew it was going to be a little bit emotional, but we're also really excited about the opportunity and the platform this gives us to be able to kind of talk about it.
Yeah, it'll be inspiring for people too that can relate. Everyone can
Yeah.
relate to loss, and everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Not to this extreme, of course, but we try to make the show where people can try and learn from it somehow.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and hopefully our story can help anyone. I mean, everyone's going to grieve a little bit differently, and just know that it's okay to grieve, and that eventually things do get better. I know at first everything seems like it's very overwhelming, and one of the things I think that they told us, not to hop back into it, but they told us grief feels like waves, and it's going to come in waves, and at first the waves feel like they're kind of
relentless,
overtaking you, and then they slowly get better, and you can look back on people's memory and be happy and still be sad at the same time, but it's not as overwhelming as time goes on.
Yeah, and it's also okay to enjoy your life. You guys are proving that, but like the guilt thing comes back all the time, especially early on, where it's like, "Well, how am I sitting here doing this when he can?" But like you can. That's really the way you honor him, is to continue to live your life the way you were, but better.
Yep, absolutely.
I suppose. Well, you guys are living proof.
Yeah.
Especially you. This guy's a kind guy. I can see it in his eyes, and not too bad on the drums either. Do you play any instruments?
Not really.
Do you like to sing?
Not.
You're not a big music guy. Do you
in
like
the
music?
car.
In the
Do
car.
you like to
I
sing in
like
the
to
car?
listen
Yeah, that's
to
cool.
sing.
Oh yeah.
People that hear me sing tell me that I should probably listen.
Who's your favorite band?
I think Queen.
Oh man after my heart. What's your favorite Queen song?
I think right now it is We Will Rock.
Oh man, you can play. I can show you how to play it. You want me to show you how to play that on the drums?
Ooh.
Okay. All right, let's do that. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Jenna.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Camden. Landry's Light.
Yep.
21 plus. He's saying 21 tops. I'm gonna say 21 plus. But for real, go check it out. Be part of the awareness. Send your love to Rick and Jenna, and be kind to everybody, because everyone's going through shit. So stuff.
Absolutely.
Man, I almost made it out without a cuss. All right, thanks guys. Peace out.
Thank you.
I'll do this every time I hit the ceiling. You'll be doing one or the other. Ready?
Bye.